Although the challenges of our times may feel beyond our personal impact, it is less complicated than many people think. It's not companies, but people that make the difference. The following changemakers give you practical examples and tips how to put in practice circular economy in your daily work. Get inspired by other professionals working in the circular economy and start today with working on a future-proof business and a livable planet.
Welcome today with the launch of ChangeMakers Magazine. We are here live in the studio in Amsterdam, and today that means live means that you can also talk with us today. The launch of the magazine. Most people love to make a change today. Most people don't think that the world of tomorrow of our children will be as good as our world today. But how can you change that world? How can you really make impact without moving to another job or another company? We believe everyone could and should make an impact in their job. A circular economy is really one of the most important things to implement in your job if you really want to make that impact. In the studio today, we have 4 of the 12 changemakers in the magazine here, and we will have a conversation with them, and you will be invited to ask them any question today as well. The ChangeMakers magazine today tells a story about groundbreaking buyers, directors, marketers, and purchasers. And they are telling you their stories, like what do they do differently. And in the magazine, you can also click through all the tools and things, magazines, books, everything they have read to really get into the topic. So it's really easy to get started yourself as well. We launched the magazine, first of all, in the Netherlands last year, and then it became such a great success that today we brought it also internationally. And I'm very proud and also very happy that we can share it today. I'm Klaske Kruk, I'm founder of Circularities, and Circularities is an organization that is really implementing the circular economy and is thinking about who can do what in the circular economy so that you tomorrow can get started. But we didn't do that all by ourselves. We didn't do that only with Circularities. We also did that with Circl. And Circl is a platform based in Amsterdam, also a part of the ABN AMRO bank. And Nina Pusinen is here with us today as well. Nina, hi.
Hi.
Hi. So nice, right, that we have launched this magazine today and that we've gone international. Why is a bank such as ABN AMRO interested in the circular economy?
Oh, I think you could call it more than an interest. We see it as a key strategy to battle climate change, to battle the biodiversity loss and the related social problems that we have in the world. and how it relates to our business as a bank. We are traditionally already for 300 years, we're a bank for entrepreneurs, for businesses, and another big area what we finance is real estate. And if we look at the assets of those businesses that we finance and real estate as an asset, we see that circular economy is a really important way of future-proofing those assets. And they are, of course, also future-proofing our own bank. It's simple as that.
Yeah. So do you think banks will finance non-circular business in the future still?
Ooh.
Yeah.
I believe that there will be a point that there won't be any more linear businesses to finance. So I think the key question is like how actively will banks support the change? Do they accelerate, or are they just like passively waiting companies to come with ideas and then see if they can finance them? I think in the Netherlands, ABN AMRO and also other banks are very active in the transition and want to accelerate. So I would say, no, we won't finance at some point linear businesses.
Wow, that's an answer to keep in mind if you're one of those businesses and think like, I still need some finance in the future. Maybe let's get into that circular economy. You also work a lot with companies with ABN AMRO. What kind of challenges do they face when they like to start with circular economy?
A lot of challenges, and finance is not one of the numbers 1, 2, 3. So it's a lot more about how to adopt circular innovation that is already out there, how to adopt it to their value chain, to their organization that are now perfectly designed from a linear perspective. So that's the struggle, and how to involve clients, suppliers, and also people within their organization.
Yeah, so basically it's really about the question like, how do we get started?
Yes.
And not at the first place finance.
No.
That's funny, because a lot of people think that that's the key thing, but it's really like, how do we get started? Do you see a lot of attention? Do you see a lot of attention for circular economy?
Yes, it's growing. So that's why it's so this whole week of circular economy. It's sort of also like a measurement, like how the attention is growing. And you see that this week also from the government and from the financial sector, etc. There are so many things sort of building up now that I think the momentum is now really getting to the S curve.
Yeah. Yeah, everybody that doesn't know that and is not from the Netherlands, in the Netherlands it's the week of the circular economy, and this is part of it. How could this magazine that we made together contribute to the questions of the companies?
Now, Klaske and me, when we started this whole idea, we noticed that together also we were organizing a lot of events for businesses, and we almost often we saw someone from the business, a CEO, sometimes a business developer, or other person coming to all these events and struggling, like how I'm going to involve my colleagues in this. So the dream was sort of like, okay, let's make this concrete handbook, inspiring handbook that these ambassadors could take with them when they go back to their businesses, and sort of like spread it around and say, read this first and then we talk. So we hope that this is some contribution to that change within organizations.
Yes, great. Thanks, and also thanks for your explanation, and hopefully this will also go internationally and will be handy for all kind of companies, also international. But before we start having a conversation with all those guests around me, I'd love to also know who you are. So today we also have a chat. I hope you can find that chat in the right or left side. No clue actually. But probably you see already the question. What is your function? So I'd love to know, and if you type it now, I can get it here. So what kind of function do you have? We are really interested in that. I don't get anything there yet. There's probably a bit of delay, and probably people from all over the world are trying to type. Are you a marketer? Are you a buyer? Are you maybe a director? Maybe you are something totally different. But are you still interested in this story? What are you? I don't get anything yet. And if you are busy typing, type. Please stay typing. I also have another question for you. And so then then you can keep typing. What is the level of engagement in your organization? Is that medium, low, high? And what are the biggest challenges you face while trying to get the circular economy starting in your organization? Probably it's not finance, because Nina just told us like that's not one of the biggest topics. I don't get anything here yet. Let's see. I hope it works. Otherwise, we just skip this part, I would say, and we get back to it later on. But probably there's a bit of a delay. And if you have any questions, I get them here. So take your chance and ask your questions. So let me introduce you to our guests now as well. Because what I told you before is that we have 4 types of functions also invited today. We've got one marketer, we have a buyer, we have a purchaser, that's the same. We have a designer, and we have a CEO here on the table. For the director, I've got Jan Willem de Kam here. You're from VEPA, and you're a director. Yes, you are.
I'm a real director. Yeah.
You're a real one. Yes, and I ask you all, like, bring something just to show what you are basically producing. And I'm very, very curious what you've got in that black box there.
Well, we are producing office furniture, and that was obvious, but we tried to make it out of waste, and that's the change we made. Normally, we would buy new raw material and work that in a product, but now we change it, and we are looking for waste and see what we can make out of it.
Yeah, so, you make chairs, right?
Yeah, chairs, tables,
couches,
desks, cabinets, whatever.
Yes,
we will
all kind of
decorate
things.
your complete office.
Yeah, but, made out of waste.
Made out of waste.
Only?
No, we're starting to make it out of waste. So
yes.
We changed the way of designing our furniture and thinking about raw materials. And first, we started in 2008 when the first financial crisis started. All companies left to China, and we didn't. So we had to come up with something new, something different, something which is different from all the other companies. And we decided to be more sustainable.
Yeah, and I think the audience is really curious what is in your black box.
Keep them curious for a moment now. It's quite simple. We started making products out of waste, and we started with Suez, Sita. They wanted a circular office, head office.
A waste company in the Netherlands.
Yeah, the waste company, and we delivered them some great furniture, but they said, well, it would be even greater if you made some furniture out of our waste, which was plastic at the time.
Yeah.
And PET bottles were one of them. And I asked Wieger Droog, that's the bottle.
The bottle.
I asked Wieger Droog, he was the CEO of Suez, Sita, and he said, well, visit our factory in Rotterdam where we split all the plastic. And we did, and I asked him, what's the easiest material we can work with, you think? And he said, this PET. So we started with that, and from there we designed a new product, which was our felt chair. And now we are even fishing plastic out of the Amsterdam canals, and we make furniture out of that as well. With plastic well.
Even, right?
Tables, furniture, lamps, and
From waste from the Amsterdam.
Yeah, with plastic well we do that.
Canals, yes.
So a lot more.
Is there more interesting stuff in that black box?
There's a lot more of. We have our own waste. We try to be a factory without waste.
Yeah.
So we have our own waste, which is fabric that we, after cutting, we have some fabric left, and we bring it to a company, Frankenhuis, which is quite close to us, and they make together with Brinkman, they make these nice acoustic panels, which we use in our acoustic walling and furniture. Yeah. And that's a lot better than just the polyester we used to use.
So this is your own waste, right?
This is our own waste, and at the moment the waste of others as well, because we have too little waste.
Yeah,
which is great.
Which is basically what you want.
Which is great. So we solved that one. Yes. But still have a lot of other waste in the company, like wood, for instance, and we work that up to new tabletops, for instance, and well.
You can keep talking about everything in your black box, right?
The box again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Lovely.
Just shut me off.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. I've got Lisa Hoordijk here. You are a buyer. You're here as a buyer. And you're working for Bugaboo.
Yes.
And I also asked you to show one of the products that you are making.
Yeah. Well, I took print because, you know, our products are a little larger, like you couldn't take your furniture with you. But we are very well known for our strollers. That's the main product that people know us from.
Yeah, great. But you also do other things, right?
Yeah, of course, accessories, and we have a crib, for example. But strollers is really the main part that we're developing. Yeah. Yeah.
And people all over the world probably know you as well, because you're a fantastic organization. That's a certain, but also because you're also operating internationally, right?
Yeah, we have sales offices around the world. We have our own manufacturing site in China, which we guide very well. It has the same code of conduct as we have in Amsterdam. Our headquarters is in Amsterdam, but we are very international.
Yeah, great. Thanks a lot. And then we go to Charlotte. Charlotte Mossert, you are a marketer from Philips.
Yes.
And I also asked you to bring a product, but also your product is a bit big to bring along.
It's a little bit too big. Yeah. I hope we can put it on screen.
Yeah.
It doesn't appear yet.
Can we have the... Yes,
here
there
we go.
It is.
Yes, Klaske, I'm a marketeer for Philips. Actually a remarketeer, I should say, because my primary role is to engage with active business development on a global scale of refurbished equipment. So what you see here on screen is one of our MRI systems. It's a system which you find as a diagnostic imaging system in the hospital scene, in healthcare facilities as well. Actually, we're looking straight into the heart of an MRI scanner, which is being refurbished at our site in Best in the Netherlands. And we turn this system into a circular edition, what we call it. It's the name of the portfolio, where it goes out of the factories, the same as new quality, and for another life cycle with our customers in the field.
Lovely. We will dive into that just after I introduce also Miguel. And Miguel, you are not here, unfortunately, but you can join us online, which is also very nice. Miguel, you are a kind of designer. We'll get back to that as well. And you are working for Fairphone. And I also asked you to show what you are making. And I think that's... yeah, right. It's easier, right? That is a Fairphone. Just please show us. It looks quite normal, right? Like a normal phone.
Well, it's normal until you open it, and then it's a modular device as well. Yeah. So Fairphones are modular devices, so that they can be very easy to repair. So very ready for the circular economy, I would say.
Yeah. Fantastic. Great. Great that you're here. We'll get back to you as well. But then let's dive into what can you do as a director, a marketer, a buyer, and designer, because that's where the magazine is about. What can you do, and also what can you copy back there in abroad, just to put in practice tomorrow as well. Jan Willem, we start with you again. you are a director, and many of us think that if a director is into circular economy, easy. Everybody is into the topic, and everything will be implemented very soon, and so you're done. Is that right?
Well, if I were the only one, yes, but hypothetically, I'm not the only one.
No.
And so we are working as a team, as we always do, and we find our way to make it fun, to make it really nice to work on it, and not make it difficult or heavy or whatever. So we try to make fun out of it.
And how do you do that?
Just start with something, and just as Marius from Plastic Whale always says, put a man on the moon. Let's make something out of waste, and just tell it and just do it. Start with it and fund it. Get the money somewhere, find it in your marketing budget or wherever, and just give them the room and the space to do it.
Yeah, I love your answer, because a lot of people think like, oh, it's really difficult. No. It's technical. It's hard
hypothetically,
work.
there are people that understand the technical part of it. I don't, although I did chemist and science as well, but not on the level we need to.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, so that's a very nice thing you said there as well, because you started when you didn't really had a clue what circular economy actually meant.
No, circular economy wasn't even there.
Topic.
It wasn't a topic at all. It was sustainability, yes, but circular economy.
Yeah. But so what did...
Even didn't know anything about sustainability as well. So
no, but what did trigger you? What did you want?
What I said. A lot of companies went to China for price reasons or whatever. Yeah. And we had 100 people working in the factory in Holland already, and we were not planning on firing them. So we had to come up with a plan to do it differently. And
so basically, it was a kind of way just to localize or just bring, or basically keep jobs here in the Netherlands.
Control, Alt, delete, and then okay, which way should we go
and
for
then
the future?
Sustainability or circular economy
sustainability
a normal topic?
Just came up. I don't know why. It just came up, and nobody knew. And we just asked who knows something about sustainability, and nobody did. No. And then only our product developer. He said, I studied on the University of Delft. And,
a student?
A student. No, he was a student, but now he was with us. And he had a professor, Han Brezet. Yeah. And he taught sustainable design. So that sounds like he knew something about it. So we just asked him. And,
but you used it as an innovation that actually really, at that time, for your company.
Yeah, we just want to know where we are, what's our position at the moment. And if we are we sustainable or are we not? What can we...
Curious if it outweighs for you the financial benefits usually on the long term. But if you have to invest upfront usually in those projects. Yeah. And you were eager to do so.
Yeah, because if you want, you always have to invest. If you run a business, you always have to invest in something. And most of the time, you're not really sure if it pays out in the end. But if you believe in something and you invest in what you believe in, most of the time it comes out right. If you invest in something you do not really believe in, but you think you can make money out of it, most of the time you will fail. So.
Yeah, but a lot of people and a lot of companies say like, yeah, but we don't have the money to invest in it. But you probably don't make millions yourself either. So where did the money come from? Or does the money come from? Because you probably still have to invest in it, right?
Yeah, but you can find partners several ways. You can find partners because most of in your supply chain they are interested as well somewhere, and maybe not the biggest suppliers, but there are smaller suppliers that are interested in turning the world around a little bit and be more sustainable. So that's one. And if you invest both or with 3 or 4 companies, that makes it easier. But for instance, we have a marketing budget. And we spend it on a football club, which doesn't bring anything to sustainability. Makes fun every Saturday. Not everybody likes football. And we change it in plastic fishing. So we put our money on Plastic Whale. Yeah. We started plastic fishing with our customers. Yeah. And basically it was the same activity.
Basically, it are other priorities then, right?
Yeah,
you put your priorities where you really want to go, and then it's even financially possible. But you didn't do this all by yourself. You needed the rest of your organization. I'm probably trying to answer the question a bit for you already, but how much of that is true? How much do you need other people in the organization?
How much? We need all people in the organization.
Yes.
From purchase to product development to sales to the people in the factory, everyone.
Everyone. So that's a great bridge.
To
Lisa. Yes. Thanks. Lisa, buyers normally think about like materials, like where can I get them, how much can I get of the materials, what is the quality, how safe are the materials, how much does it cost? Not a very, very, very important topic. But how can you also get circularity or as a topic into the mind of buyers? How can they, on top of all those things, also consider where the material is made from?
It's everybody in a company has to be involved, so also the buyers, but not just the buyers. If you as a buyer want to purchase a sustainable material from a very sustainable supplier, you most likely won't get or the funds or your designers are not requesting that material. So you really, it's a co-effort. You really have to do it all together. And then as a buyer, you have a very important role to make sure that you facilitate your company to get the right material in the right quantity and still have all those other things as well, of course. I mean, in our sector as well, quality is very important. So you cannot let go one and then only focus on the other, of course.
No, right. No. So basically, your answer is basically the same. Like you need the rest of the organization, but who else do you really need to get this really on the agenda?
Well, really everybody, and also from all levels. You can start maybe like, okay, let's start a movement. It's in your culture, but you also need the top management to really approve certain changes. You only can change to a certain level if you don't have the top level involved. So you need everybody, and it really needs to start. I mean, we make products, so it needs to start from design. It needs to start with engaging people on new materials, on other possibilities, and then it has like a ripple effect towards the buyers, and then the buyers towards the quality. They need to also look different at the suppliers and at the products.
And how did you get everybody on board?
It took a while.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, we are a fairly young company, so everybody was quite interested in the topic. But then there's, of course, still a difference if you're interested from your personal life or if you also have to act on it during your work. I mean, what should you do and what do you need to change? So you really need to engage them, make ambassadors out of them, show what can be done, lead by example. And it's something you continuously need to do. And then in the end, it will pay off and people will take over themselves.
So it's also a long breath. Just keep going, keep telling the story, make people enthusiastic about it. Definitely. What kind of criteria do you take into account when you think of a circular material?
Well, we are not only looking at circularity, like, okay, this is a material that is from recycled resources and can be recycled again. It's a much wider aspect. It's also the social aspect that you take into account. It's also the footprint it leaves. So one recycled material is not the same as another recycled material. So it's the big picture that you really need to take into account. And especially, I mean, you were just talking about your supply chain and that you're still in the Netherlands. We do make our products in China, and we are actually, but we are very proud of it. It's really our knowledge center. But it also requires that you really keep a close eye on your suppliers and that you are able to visit them, control them, and not just look at the material itself that you get on your desk maybe in Amsterdam, but that you expand your view and look really broader. Yeah,
you don't have a kind of checklist like criteria you look at?
We do. Okay. Yeah, we do. We have our own internal audits on social side and more on environmental side as well. It's not really fair to only have your own internal checklist, so you have need to have a third party as well. So we work with SEDEX on the social parts. The SA8000 is we already have that for years in our factory. All those kind of external mechanisms and external certificates that are out there, we are using it, and we're happy to use it because then you can also see where you are internationally with other companies as well.
Yeah, compare and also learn from each other.
And learn from it, definitely.
Yeah. You're also very dependent, I can imagine, on your suppliers. Because you can have all kind of wishes, but you're dependent on your suppliers if they are really helping you out there. How do you transform with your already, the suppliers you already have?
Yeah. Well, luckily we work with most of our suppliers for a very long time already. So, we have a good relationship with them, and they're very willing to transform with us. But still, it's not easy if they are making material A and suddenly you're requesting a certain, material B. So you need to guide them.
Sometimes?
Well, not exactly from A to B, but maybe A1 to A2. It's in the same criteria, but differently. So you need to guide them as well. And I think it's very important to give them training. Also on those certificates that you want them to have as well. Invite them over to your own factory, show how we do it, really engage them to move further.
Yeah, and how important is it that you have such a long-term relationship already with them?
I think it's very important. It's a certain level of trust, but also the way that they want to move with you, it's very important. On all different aspects. Otherwise, it's very hard to realize a certain quality, but also a certain level of sustainability in your products.
Yeah, because I can imagine that if you ask all kind of new things, that people are a bit like.
Yeah,
but if you have a
suppliers are as well. I mean, they get tired of us sometimes.
Yeah,
it's not always easy, and we are not a huge company. We're not in the automotive industry, for example, so they won't follow everything that we ask for them.
No.
So it's very helpful if you know them for a longer period already.
Yeah. Do you because I know that Fairphone, Miguel, that you team up with. Other companies because of this situation. You are also really small, but for certain materials you just team up with other companies and so you have a bigger voice to suppliers like what you want differently. How does that work?
That collaboration is even very core to our theory of change. So we are a social enterprise, and our secret agenda is that we are changing the industry from within. And that collaborating and making sure that the projects that we come up with are scalable and are done with very often bigger companies than we is very important and important of our impact agenda.
Is that something you are planning to do as well?
We look further than just our own industry even. I mean, within the industry, we are still competitors as well, not on every aspect. I think we should collaborate, for example, on chemical aspects to make our products safer, to make the industry, to keep at the same level. But we look a lot at the fashion industry, of course. We use textiles, and they are a front runner. They're always also being judged for the things that they do, so they accelerate more. We work with different brands in trainings, for example. It's not like a brand that we put out on the market, like, hey, we have a collaboration, but it's really behind doors, actually, that we set up trainings and we invite other brands as well.
Yeah, I see Miguel saying yes as well. Okay, and but is it also possible that someday, and maybe it happened already, that you say like, sorry, suppliers, but we're moving to a circular direction. You are not going with us too much, so sorry.
Yeah, of course. No, it's not only an initial audit when we onboard a supplier. It's continuous checking, of course. Sometimes announced, sometimes unannounced. And if things are not okay, or they're telling that they're doing certain things, but they are absolutely not, we give them, of course, a chance to improve. But if they don't improve, then we will go our separate ways.
And that happened.
It happened already before. Yeah. Luckily, not that much because we have to find a new supplier.
Yeah, not easy.
Yes, no, it's not easy. But
because how do you find a circular supplier?
Well, you have very good purchasers.
Me myself, for example.
No. I'm just influencing them. I'm the overall sustainability manager, and I think purchase has a very important role to play in selecting those. Come with a short list of suppliers who have those criteria already and can make the materials that we want.
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Charlotte. Now it's your time. yeah, marketers or
a remarketeer. Yeah,
yeah, a marketeer. It's often said by marketeers like, yeah, my role is just to sell stuff.
Yeah, that's your typical.
Yeah, I'm just a marketer. Yeah, I am not going to do anything with circular economy because I just need to sell stuff. Is that true?
No.
Okay, but
I don't think so either.
No.
But
no, right. What could they do differently, and why is that a stupid approach?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think it's our future, the best interests of our healthy planet and also healthy people living upon the planet. So within Philips, it's one of the core beliefs that really goes through the entire organization. But I can imagine if you're in a large corporate and it's not priority, and it's difficult. But still, if you have that passion, if there's a light burning somewhere, then I would say take your chance and try to, even although it's a very small change that you can make throughout the entire organization, then still it can be, like you said, a ripple effect can be so effective.
Yeah, but people, marketeers normally say like, yeah, but my customers don't ask for a circular product. So why should I? If there's no market, why should I? There is no start for me.
I think it's an important role to create that demand, to engage with our customers and to move away from, we say that transactional linear selling of moving boxes, moving equipment. That's really not the future. We move into solution selling, where we engage with a longer-term partnership with our customers. So throughout the life cycle of our products, we want to make sure that the customer is able to fully use the system or the solution to its maximum value. And at the end of it, that we close that loop, that we take back the solution, and that we make sure that we can provide another life cycle.
So I can imagine that you would like to say to all marketeers in the world, well, if your customer doesn't start about a circular product, start about it yourself.
Yeah, I would say ask very bold questions and just say, hey, what are your sustainability ambitions? I've thought about this. How do you see that happening across many years? Where do you see your company end up? And I think just asking bold, small questions. So sales needs to be very much enabled to do so.
Yeah.
So training them is really crucial. That they're capable of coming up with the right questions and just engage with them.
Yeah, so it's quite cheap. You can just ask a question like, did you think about it? It's
and
just
there are
a question.
Passionate customers that really are passionate about the subject and come forward. And you could use them as an ambassador. Like you were saying, Jan Willem, instead of moving your marketing budget towards a football club, put it in an effort where it's really visible for people, where it has potential of reaching.
That was nothing with Philips in mind, sorry.
No, the wheel, the plastic wheel, you mentioned that was, no, not the PSV.
No, I wasn't thinking about Philips.
Yeah, we've moved away from that as well. So
you never make those proposals, even if they're small, but if you never think on it, it will never change. So I think if you make, as a marketeer, a proposal like, hey, should we make a different move? A lot of people might say, why not?
Absolutely, yeah. And even as a marketeer, it's not only looking at the downstream sales side, but also talk to your colleagues of design, talk to the manufacturing people, make sure that you have detailed knowledge of your product, how it's built, where it comes from, and how long it lasts across a lifetime. And making
the voice
sure that
of the company, actually.
Yeah.
So basically what you say is like you have outside your company a very important role to play, just to create basically a market for circular economy products. Just make sure you get your customers to ask for circular products, maybe even. But also inside your organization, you have an important role to play. That's basically what you said, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And if you look at how we approach this at Philips, so I am part of an integral large strategic team where we look at the roadmaps of our products. It's not only a single time selling a new product, but it starts with design, looking at the circular design principles, and think about together with this whole team, with manufacturing, logistics is involved, return logistics eventually, So sales, the marketeers, and together we decide what the roadmap should look like and how we can optimize for circularity.
Yeah.
And also close material loops that are already existing in the field.
Yeah. So and now you have a very difficult job because basically what you do is you resell secondary or basically refurbished CT scanners. And a lot of people probably think if it's second-hand, like, quality might not be as good. I'm probably not going to sell this. Is that true? And how do you go about that?
Yeah, you see that this is a typical an assumption that comes from customers that are not informed. And I have to say that the most mature healthcare markets, like Europe and North America, we really have a high-end healthcare system. There it's very accepted. The customers know that they can go to us for OEM, original equipment manufactured, refurbished solutions that are the same as new quality. And that's also our promise. They go into the factory, second-hand systems, and we bring them completely up to spec of a new system.
Same guarantee.
Same warranty, same as new, and the same serviceability, etc. And I think making that promise clear towards the customers and also showing the process, the detailed refurbishment process that our systems go through, that really helps. But then still we have our challenges in the healthcare space, which is very conservative. Some markets say we block the import of refurbished equipment, although it has the same as new warranty and quality. So we're still working, also lobbying with regulatory bodies in order to inform them that this is a potential to lower the cost of care.
Yeah.
And at very good quality.
And quality is just very good.
Yeah.
Are you also considering second-hand materials or products to
It's part of our business.
It's part of your business already?
We're just kicking it off. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we looked at it before, but I think the market wasn't ready then.
Yeah.
It is now, and we are launching it as one of our new business models. And you can purchase refurbished, but also lease our products now. So
yeah,
and that's if you make good quality products, you can.
Last for.
They last forever. Multiple lifetimes.
Yeah. But do you also see the problem that Charlotte is facing? Like people still a bit like, what's the quality?
Yeah, you need to prove that the quality is as good as new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do not even refurbish our own products, but products of other manufacturers as well. So we take products from other manufacturers back, refurbish them and bring them back to the customer, like Nationale Nederlanden here. The whole new head office in The Hague and Rotterdam are refurbished. I think 80% is reused from their own material, 10% is reused out of the market somewhere, refurbished all by us, and 10% is circular new products. So it's already.
So you're actually the agent of multiple brands that you refurbish and place back there.
If we reupholster a chair, whatever, it's a brand X, Y, or Z. We can upholster any chair if you want.
Yeah, well, that's maybe even a step further. Like you're not only reselling your own stuff, but also reselling others.
The advantage we have is we have a factory here that works raw material.
Yeah.
And if that raw material is virgin or somewhere of the raw material is coming from our customers in the form of a chair or a table, whatever, come up and we try to make something out of it.
Is that something that you potentially could see happening in the future as well? And then I go to you, Miguel. Wait a minute.
I think for what we do, the complexity of these medical imaging systems, it's really different by design. They're different, but I think. For us, it starts with modularity, similar to Fairphone. Yeah. I think that has a big chance of.
Are you going to?
Well, we of course have our manufacturing and supply chain in China, but in order to refurbish over here in Europe or in the Netherlands, you need to have some production line and you need to have some thing going on to really control the quality yourself. So yes, we are also doing that over here, but so far only for our own brand.
Yeah. You can do it locally with partners as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you have to work with other partners together.
Yeah. Charlotte, last question. A bit of a well, maybe you don't like the question so much, so don't hit me. Don't hit me.
No, bring it on. Not challenging questions.
Some people may say marketeers are responsible for overconsumption, and ouch, yes. And they are making us feel like we always want more, we want better, we need more. So that are the bad guys. How do you look about that? How do you look at that?
Of course, we still have a profit objective eventually, but the road towards that profit is something as a marketer that you can truly change. Yeah. Whether it is closing the material loops actively, I think, and engaging more towards moving away from that linear transaction towards a service-based solution selling. Where you really optimize the usability of a system at the customer side. I think that is the future. So although we still have many challenges ahead of us, I think working on it every day and trying to inspire others to do the same, that we're on the right track.
Yeah, so probably a lot of marketeers need new skills as well, right, in the future?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I would say really open up, like I mentioned, just learn about all different disciplines within your facility, within your company, and have a really clear vision of where you want to land eventually. Yeah. How do we want to live in a more sustainable world, and something needs to change instead of that one-off sales that you bring.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Miguel.
Hey.
You're still there, right? Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Hi. Well, normally if I call you a designer, you're a bit like, oh, nah, I'm not really a designer. What are you basically? Are you a coach? Are you a researcher? Or are you a designer?
Well, I'll start with the facts. I did study industrial design, so that would entitle me to be called a designer. But I think like designer is such a word. I actually believe that we are all designers. In the end, designers are creators of things, of products in this case. So also very important, having a very important role in this whole discussion. As a designer, you also need to influence others. And that's the part where you are more of a coach, I think. And I like other people in the room also have mentioned this. It's a joint effort. You need to make sure that you champion this topic, and you need to make sure that you convince others in your organization. So definitely we are also coaches. And researcher, you also mentioned, you don't know everything, of course, and the circular economy is a difficult topic very often, and it can get really technical at times. So you need to be a bit of a researcher as well, and be curious always on how things can be done better or different, or how you can zoom out to see things in a different way with other people. So definitely a little bit of the three.
Yeah, because I know that you as a researcher have been really diving into materials and really diving into the details, basically. How did you do that, and why did you do that as a designer?
Yeah, I mean, again, it was not only me, of course, but at Fairphone, we, in our quest to influence the rest of the industry and to play that inspirational role, we do indeed a lot of research. So when it comes to materials, which for our type of products are mostly metals, also plastics, but mostly metals, we have researched multiple supply chains. So actually our last scoping study has been looking at more than 40 different material chains, and zooming in a little bit more in the 14 materials where we saw the biggest opportunity. And how we've done that, well, there's multiple sources and there's multiple experts also that have helped us. Very often, every material chain is a different world sometimes. So it has its own difficulties, and we are today talking about circular economy, where we could talk about materials flow, but of course, as also other speakers have been mentioning, we also very much look into the social aspects of these material chains, and we engage in projects at the mining site that improves the condition also for miners. Not only that, we also focus on other topics, of course, within the circular economy. and a decent work agenda. But let's get more into that into other questions, I would say.
Yeah, and maybe also read the magazine, because there you explain this very well as well. For everybody watching now, you can read the magazine at circle.nl/changemakers. There you also see what kind of tools everybody of you uses, and you can reuse it as well. It's very circular. Let me ask the question here at the table as well. Like Miguel said, like basically every professional in the circular economy should be a kind of coach. Is that something you recognize? You said that already.
Yeah, it's definitely, I feel it's a repetition, but definitely.
Yeah, it is. So let's move to Jan Willem. Are you a coach?
I try to be so, yeah.
Yeah, but how, in what manner?
I was trained in the military, and there we learned how to be a coach.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that officers are always yelling and telling you what to do, but that is from a long time ago. I think we always say you can have an idea of with a 9, but if it has the how do you say it? If the people don't believe in it, you get the outcome of a 6.
Yeah.
And if they have an idea of a 7 and they go in for it for 120%, you can have an outcome of maybe an 8. So it's always very important to let the ideas come out of the company and not only from yourself.
So it's really about like working together on this topic, right?
Yeah, never think. Of course, a question is never dumb, but really try to make out. If someone has an idea, work on it and see how far we can come.
Yeah.
When Corona started, someone suddenly came up with an idea of making a sit-stand deck in a simple cabinet. It was a small cabinet for people living in Amsterdam. We do not have big houses like we in the northern part of Holland. But he invented it in a week's time. With our marketing, we brought it to the market in 2 weeks. Yeah. It came out of people, not from us, not from anyone. So.
And then you just take the new ideas
go for it,
and go
do
for
something,
it,
stop talking.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Stop talking also. Are you also a coach?
You have to be. I mean, we all agree that you cannot make a change or an impact by yourself. So you need to engage. You need to engage your whole company, and you can only do that by coaching them and work together.
Yeah, I think that should be the tagline of this broadcast: work together. Miguel, back to you. As a designer, you also design the waste, right? How are you trying to avoid designing waste?
Yeah. So one of our main focuses is on increasing the longevity of our devices. So what you have in the smartphone industry is that typically devices have been used between 2 and 3 years. And since we started Fairphone in 2013, we've always been working towards these 5 years as a minimum, kind of. There are many elements to that: software support, availability of spare parts, many different topics. With Fairphone 4, which is the device that we just launched last fall, is the first time that we actually give a statutory warranty on it. So we give a warranty of 5 years to all defects on manufacturing, and that would also include software support, of course. Why is this important? I can give you some data. In the case of a smartphone, if you extend the lifetime of a smartphone from, let's say, 2-3 years, actually the calculations are done on 3 years. If you extend it 2 years, so from 3 to 5, you're really reducing 30% of the CO2 emissions related to that product. If you manage to stretch it to 7 years, you're talking about a reduction of 45%. That means using the same materials, using the same type of product, and I would say quite different design, because of course our design is modular and very easy to repair, but you are already achieving that you can achieve that 45% reduction.
Yeah, so basically it lasts longer, but you also design it modular, you said already. In the magazine, you also are talking about, I love this sentence, the end of a product's life should involve an interesting experience, a positive and a ritual.
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, I have to say this is something I read somewhere. I now don't remember the name of the designer, but there's a famous designer that it's famous for designing ends and endings for products, and I thought that was very powerful when it comes to circular economy, because one of the issues, at least for every product category, like the bottlenecks are different, but for smartphones are definitely the fact that people don't return their phones, so don't send them for recycling, because of course a smartphone is something very small that is very easy to forget in a drawer at home, and then you don't give it attention anymore. I believe that if we design that ending in a way that it feels more like a ritual, that you give some attention into this transition between the old device into the new device, that can be quite powerful and can be very instrumental in eliminating that bottleneck for the circular economy, at least in our product category. So that's how I meant it. Yeah.
Miguel, how do you see that ritual in front of you? Is it like it's a trade-in value that you provide, so the customer has something tangible, or is it more of an emotional aspect that you're willing
ceremony?
Yeah.
Ceremony.
No, that's an important question. So we have already a trade-in program, so people can return their devices and get a value for them. By the way, any device, so we take any device, doesn't have to be a Fairphone. But I think there is one step extra that we need to do, which is indeed what you are saying, making more emotional, making more of a moment of like, hey, this product has served you for like 5 years, 6 years. You know, it's nearly like you say thank you, and then get to that new one. And I mean it also because you can, for any trade-in program, there will be a set of devices that you will be given money for, but there will always be a remnant of devices that is very difficult to give any kind of monetary value for them. So we see in our recycling program like that a certain percentage that comes back is devices that really have no refurbishing value or not remarketing value in the market. So it's very difficult to provide a monetary incentive for those devices. We still take them in, so for sure it's for free for the customer. We still take them in, but it would be very good, and we are working on this and on creating like a more emotional side of it, so that people get more rewarded when they make this action.
Could be that you focus on the recycling part and the added value that it has there. Although it's one of the least value-adding loops, we preferably focus on the ones with valuable equipment that you can still take back and refurbish. I think the same for you, but
definitely. And for us, of course, we are in a consumer market, so we also sell B2B, but mostly it's consumer market. So things look a little bit different maybe than in a B2B market. People are, like there might be not really incentivized to go through the hassle to send their devices, etc. So giving that extra emotional value to it is important, and it's something that we have to still work on it, to be honest, but it's something that we are thinking of. Now that we have, let's say the basis of the recycling program is there, now we need to take it one step further.
Yeah, I also like the idea of a ceremony where you say gratefully, like, thank you, phone, for everything you did for me. And then I send it back to your mom, it's Fairphone.
Now it nearly sounds spiritual, but I'll give you like an example, right? Like the experience that you go through when you return a phone, for example, when you do this with certain companies, feels pretty clinical. So very often, companies use another partner for returning devices. So very often you get into even a different web space that looks a bit different. That already detaches you from the brand. So what I mean with this ritual is to really make sure that at least it is a branded ritual as well, that it is part of the life cycle of your phone, that it is, of course, it's negative that your device is not used anymore, but you can still try to give it a positive loop, like what you were saying, those materials are going to be used, etc. So yeah, there are tangible things that you can do to do that more ceremonial.
Maybe you should invite them to come back to circular hubs and give them a fantastic experience on what the circular economy could mean, and to create a positive vibe out of that.
Yeah, maybe in the future ceremonies for your organizations as well.
Thinking of it, smartphone heaven.
Yes, right. Well, last question for you as well, Miguel. In the end, consuming less is certainly the most circular option. But what role could a designer play to make that work?
Yeah, also important question for me. I mean, the obvious, which I just mentioned, is about extending the longevity of your device. So that means you have to use less devices for the same amount of years. But one step further here, and as a designer, is we need to build propositions that also detach that revenue from the use of resources, and that within the circular economy is normally known as the service propositions, where we really make the most out of that piece of hardware. So that means the same piece of hardware gets refurbished, gets resold, gets dismantled and reused for parts, etc. So I think the most important component, and I'm going to link it to a previous conversation that you had of service propositions, is that the ownership remains with the company. This might be a new concept for a lot of people, especially in the consumer market. But what that makes is that then the company is the first interested in keeping the costs low, in making sure that you really extract all the use that hardware has. And for me, a future here, and going back to your discussion about new and refurbished, is that there will be a future where new or refurbished, it doesn't make a difference anymore. We only talk about products that serve a purpose or products that need some sort of repair to be able to serve the same purpose again. So they either work or don't work, but the notion of new or refurbished should not be there anymore, because in the end, if it looks as new, for a consumer, it's new.
Yeah, I think that's, I see a lot of people sitting like this here. So I think they all agree, right? Yes.
Definitely.
I think this is also kind of nice. I told you already, this is your last question, and I am sure we can just, I've had a lot more questions for you as well. But if you're really into the topic now and also would like to know much more about the guest here and all the other change makers, please read the magazine at circle.nl/changemakers. And please share the magazine also with all other people in your surrounding, in your organization, maybe outside your organization. You can also spread the individual articles to special people. So I would really recommend you to do that and to enjoy the stories of everyone in the magazine.
And please reach out to us as well. If there are questions, feel free to approach, at least I'm talking for myself, but I think also for you.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. They can call you as well, Miguel. Sure.
Wake you up
so,
for more circular behavior.
Tomorrow you will be really busy because you get phone calls from all over the world. But you can also contact us if you are really interested in the proposition and in maybe even going abroad with new change makers, but then internationally. Please contact us as well. And then I would love to say thanks a lot for all your great stories. Keep on going with this fantastic work you are doing. Also you there, Miguel. And please, everyone, read the magazine, circle.nl/changemakers. And thank you very much for listening. Bye.